Hi, in this video we'll learn how to use the Google Gemini API. So we'll be using the Gemini 1.5 Pro and Flash models. We'll see how they compare with the OpenAI models, the GPT-4o and GPT-4 Turbo, what are the pros and cons of all of them, and we'll learn how to use the Gemini API from scratch, starting from the beginning, creating the Google API key, and then we'll learn how to integrate these new models to the OmniChat application, which already had GPT-4o and Turbo before. So I created this application in my last video. Check in the description the link of it. You will also find in the description the blog of this video and the GitHub repository of this project, so you will be able to follow along if you check them. Although OpenAI tried to eclipse it with the presentation of GPT-4o just the day before, a month ago Google announced the new versions for the Gemini Pro and Flash models to the version 1.5 in the keynote of the Google I/O 2024. Maybe the quality of these models is not as good as the GPT-4o ones, as we can see here, but they have been improving in this last version. So here we see the results that OpenAI is displaying here in their website, but here we see that later in May the Gemini 1.5 versions have been improving from the February ones. It's been increasing from 81.9 to 85.9, so it's a pretty good improvement in 3 months. Even so, we see that 85.9 it's not yet the level of GPT-4o, and the same for code and other capabilities. But the Gemini 1.5 models have other advantages, so we can see here that the currently released models have 1 million tokens of context length, and in research they claim to be reached up to 10 million of context windows. And not only that, but these long context windows are without loss of memory. Apart from that, we can see that this model not only can introduce text and images as GPT-4o in the API was doing, but it's also able to receive audio natively, so we don't have to transform our audio input to text with Whisper, and also we can send documents, videos, and other kinds of files. So it's more multimodal than GPT-4o. The other advantage of these models are the price. For the Pro, we can see that the prices are $3.5 and $7 for 1 million tokens, and the output is $1.75 and $3.50 per million tokens. So the price of Gemini 1.5 Pro, for example, is around 2 to 5 times lower than the GPT-4 Turbo and GPT-4o. So the new Google models are quite cheaper compared to the OpenAI ones. In order to start using the Gemini API, we need to go first to the aistudio.google.com, and here you have to create an account. If you don't have it yet, you can register with your Gmail account, and then you can create here an API key, and you'll have it here, so you can copy it from here. It's longer than this, but make sure that you don't share it with everyone. And also, if you are from Europe or UK or Switzerland, you will need to introduce here a billing account, so you will need to pay for them. In other countries, for now, it's free to start trying it, and so after you do this and you copy the API key, now we'll come here to the OmniChat project. You can copy it from the last video. I will leave here in the description of this video the link of the video and the GitHub repository. So in the last day, we created this project, and we created here the API experiment API notebook, this notebook of here. And here we were playing around with the GPT-4o before introducing it to the Streamlit chatbot that we created. So here now we'll introduce these new cells and the title of Gemini API, and we'll start playing with the Gemini here before introducing it to the Streamlit application. So first of all, you need to import OS, Google Generative AI, and .env. You will need to install those libraries in the terminal if you haven't done it yet, so you have to activate the virtual environment if you have it. So you can install Google Generative AI like this, and also you will need to have Python.env and iProgress and IPyKernel if you don't have them. After installing those libraries, we can close the terminal already and come here, and here we are loading the environment variables that we created here in the .env file. So here we created this file the other day, and here we had the OpenAI API key. If you don't have it, don't worry, it will work if you only put the Google API key. So here now we have to add this new API key that we just created in the AI Studio of Google. So Google API key equals to your API key. Now we save this .env file, make sure that it's here added in the gitignore, so we don't upload this to GitHub and we don't share with everyone our keys. And we can come back to the API experiment.apy notebook, and now we will be loading here the environment variables. We'll be setting the Gen AI API key like this, and we can configure our model parameters in this dictionary here, and we instantiate here our model like this. So we call here model name Gemini 1.5 Flash. If we put here Pro, we'll be using the Pro, but for now we'll be using the Flash, and here we pass the configs. Then like this, we already call the model generate content, and here our prompt input, our question, and we'll receive here the response. Then we'll be printing it like this because Gemini has some strict filters. So if our response response is blocked by this filter, we'll have here an exception and we'll see better why this happened. But if everything works, we'll see the response. So let's try to run it. And it worked. It's telling that the chemical formula of glucose is this one of here. So it's working. Sometimes even these questions can throw an error, but it depends also on the temperature, and so that sometimes they work. Okay, so now let's try to use the 1.5 Pro just to see if it works. And we change from Flash to Pro like this. And yeah, it's giving us the same response, pretty basic, but we are using now the 1.5 Pro. So now I will bring here an image, this image of a fridge, and we'll try to query this image. So let's save it here in the folder, fridgefood.jpg. And we can query it with the following code. In this new cell, we'll put this code of here. So yeah, the configs, the model, okay, we will use Flash again. And here now we will introduce the prompt as prompt parts. And prompt parts is a list that can have either strings or GenAI upload file. And here for now we'll be sending images, but this can be also MP3 files for uploading audios or MP4 files to upload videos. And this can be also TXT files and other kinds of documents. So let's send here the fridgefood.jpg. With this question, list the food items in the fridge and their quantities. So these are the prompt instructions. And now these prompt parts will be sent here in the model generate content as before. So let's see the response of it. And it returns this response, okay, it seems pretty good. Let's check the image again. It's saying 6 avocados, okay, more or less, there are many of them. A bunch of green onions, a bunch of thyme, salmon, salad, red apple, one orange, okay, the flash is missing here some oranges and apples. A yellow apple, okay, at least, yeah, the yellow apple, kiwi. Oh, okay, it's okay. I got all of them because it's listing here one by one. One orange. Okay, pretty good. Not perfect, but almost perfect. Let's try now the Pro. So you see how powerful this can be because you can send the image of your fridge and now you can list the ingredients that you have already automatically. And here we see that the Pro is describing it with more detail. So it's telling us the top shelf, the bottom shelf, and it says that 4 or 5 avocados and green onions, mushrooms, 6, 7. Okay, maybe it's a similar result, slightly better. It's a pretty difficult image, of course, because it has many occluded fruits. So now we could ask, okay, generate me a recipe to have lunch today. I don't know what to do for lunch, so I have these ingredients. Suggest me some healthy dishes, or even if I don't know how to do them, the third step could be, okay, tell me how to do those dishes. And it could be providing here the steps to produce this recipe. So you can see the many possibilities that we can do with these new models. So we could be here sending also songs and asking things about the song, the lyrics or the type of music, or also video and asking, okay, in what moment of the video happens this thing, or how many times something happens, or how many people appear, this kind of questions, pretty powerful. And we'll be sending here videos and the songs. So uploading the file into our folder and putting here the name of the file. And finally, for our experiments, we'll see how to have a chat history, because so far we only send a single prompt and having the response of this prompt. But if we want to have a conversation with multiple prompts and multiple responses from the model, we can have here, let's put chat history. And there are 2 ways of doing it. The first one is manually creating this chat history, and it has to be in this format. It has to be a list where every part of the list is a dictionary. And if the prompt is ours, if from the user, we have to put role user, and here in the parts, as we have seen now, it can be strings, but also it can be GenAI upload file, and it can be files, and we can separate them with commas or have a single one. And then the response of the model, it has to be model, not assistant. In GPT-4o was very similar, but here it was assistant and not model. So here in Gemini, we have to put model, the response of the model here. And then if we want to do a second question from our side, we have to do it like this. Again, a new dictionary, role user, and our second instruction. So now if we have this conversation, hi there, and we ask them, translate large language models are awesome to French. If we have this instruction, let's try to run it. So yeah, it returns this response. And now we can append this response from the model in this format, like this, in a new dictionary here next to this one, and do the third question from our side and keep going. So this is the first way of creating a chat conversation and having memory to the model. And the other way is slightly simpler from our side, because there is another method that creates here So we create the model as before, and here we use start chat with the history empty, and then we can have a prompt parts as before, but here instead of generating content like here we use send message, and this message is appended to the history automatically. So this method is taking care of the chat history. We don't have to create it by our side and taking care of it. How I call it? Chat history. So chat history auto. Let's query this. So, okay, we send here, my favorite food is pizza. So now to make sure that this is really working, let's ask now here to this chat that we created here, and we sent this message before. Let's ask here, what is my favorite food? And if the history is really working, now it will know what is my favorite food. As an AI, I don't have information, but okay, you told me your favorite food is pizza though. So it's remembering the previous part of the conversation, and we didn't need to create here the chat conversation and append manually this response from the model. It's already doing it by us, this method of here. So this can be helpful in some situations. So sometimes we want to do it like this, more easy, more simple, but sometimes maybe we want to create by ourselves the chat history and send it to the model. So we have these two ways of doing it. And in this second method, if we want to see the chat history, we can do it like this, chat history, and this will print the entire history. Okay, my favorite food is pizza, the response of the model, what is my favorite food, and this is the entire chat history. So we can retrieve it like this. Okay, so this was the example of how we can start playing around with the Gemini models. Now let's go to the app.py that we created the other day, and let's see how to introduce the logic of Gemini API to have both the OpenAI models, the GPT-4o, the Turbo, and so on, combined with the Gemini, so we can select which of those to use, and we have all of them available in our application. So let's see how to do this. First of all, we'll need to add here some libraries from the other day. So we have the previous libraries that we used the other day, and we'll need now also Google Generative AI as Gen AI, and also random. Here I need to tell that we want to use the virtual environment, and now it will detect Google. Okay, it detects that we already installed the Generative AI library from Google. The next step will be to creating here a list of the models that we want to use. So now we'll be listing them here. So the world models are those two of here that we already seen, and those are the OpenAI models that we want to introduce to our application. We can add less of them because GPT-4 32K doesn't make much sense. Also GPT-4, so we could only leave maybe these three of here, but we can leave them here also to compare. Now in the utils section, we'll add a new function here as utils, and this function of here will allow us to convert the format of the history. So as we have seen, Gemini needs a different chat history format. So here we'll be transforming from the OpenAI and Streamlit chat history format that we were using for them to this new one, because here, for example, the role of the assistant is model, not assistant, as it was in OpenAI and Streamlit. And also here we now have the video files and audio files that needs to be uploaded as files, not as base64 as we were doing for images in OpenAI. So these are basically the two more relevant differences that we have here now. Then in the stream LLM response, we will need also to update this method of here, because now we can also have streaming of the responses of Gemini, and this is the new stream LLM response. So first of all, if the model type is OpenAI, we have the previous way, this is the same. So I also modified here some parameters, because now we have to choose between model type and also send here the API key. And then if model type is Google, not OpenAI, we have this new method, okay? So we configure here the model, we create it here with the parameters, and then we pass here the messages to Gemini. So we convert the history format as we've seen before to this new Gemini message. Here we'll print them for now just to debug and make sure that it's working in the terminal. So here in generate content, now we need to create here content equals to Gemini messages that we just changed the format. And here stream equals to true. And this will be streaming the response as we did before with the OpenAI models. Okay, with this stream 2, we'll have here every new chunk of text. It will be here as in the text part of it. And here we will be appending the chunk text to the total response message and yielding this chunk text to be displayed in the Streamlit chat history. And after the full response is generated, we'll be appending it here to the session state messages. So it's slightly complex because now we have to keep track of the chat history, that it's able to be in any format. So in the Streamlit format to be displayed in the UI, but also in the OpenAI format, which is the same as Streamlit, and in the Gemini format, which is slightly different. So we'll be playing around with the format. The app will be storing it in the Streamlit format, let's say, and only before asking, so before querying the model, we'll be transforming from the Streamlit format to the Gemini format with this function of here, so it's able to get the response from the Gemini. And finally, the other function that we need today is two more functions related to the transformation of files. And we have the same as before, get image base64, but now we will be introducing also these two of here, from file to base64, which is slightly different, and also from base64 to image to get back from it. So we'll need these three more util functions, let's say, and yeah, the stream response and the message to Gemini. Okay, so these are the three utils, and now we'll go to the main section. So this was the main section from the other day, and here the page config doesn't change, the title doesn't change as well, but here in the sidebar, now we'll modify this because we want not only the OpenAI key, but also the Gemini key. So let's overwrite this because it's slightly different. Let's paste it. Okay, so now we have with calls, so we introduce here the two columns, and the first one is for the OpenAI key, and the second one is for the Google key. And here you can see the full message. So it's basically making sure that there is an API key. And also if we are developing and we have one in our environment variables, it will use that one for developing. But when we upload this to Streamlit, it doesn't use them. Also, we'll need to make sure now that there is at least one of two, or the OpenAI API key or the Google API key. So we also modify this. This is something that I added, but you don't need this. It's only to add my video here embedded in the Streamlit website. Okay, so now what we change here is this is the same, but here we'll be adding some more lines because now we not only have text and images, but also we have videos and audios. So here we will be displaying in the UI of Streamlit every message, and depending on its content, we want to write it or display the image or display the video or display the audio. Okay, now let's go to the sidebar, and here we'll be changing quite some things because now, first of all, we want manually, let's say, list here the models. We have listed them before in these OpenAI models and Google models. So now here we'll write this with the following lines. And here we'll be creating the available models list. Depending if there is the Google API key, we'll put the Google models. And if there is the OpenAI API key, we'll put the OpenAI models. Depending if we have one of those keys or both of them. Then we create here the model from the select box. So let's see which model the user selects. This will be the model. And here we'll be saying, okay, it's a model type of OpenAI or Google, because Google has more capabilities. So if the model selected is a Google one, we will be able to also upload videos and audios. So otherwise, we'll do as we did the last day. This doesn't change. Here, model parameters, we only change the temperature so far, and it's the same for the both models, so we can keep this. Preset conversation is the same, and here, upload image. Now, if it's GPT-4 or Turbo, but also Gemini, one of the two Geminis, those also take images. And here, this method of here will change also quite much, because now here we'll write add image, but also video if the model type is Google. So this will change the title. And in the add image to messages, we'll get also a video file if the model is a Google model. Otherwise, it will do the same way as before. So if image type is video, we'll append this video differently to the chat conversation, and we'll save this video with this random integer for the name to have this file available to upload with Gen AI upload file. But this will be only if we have a Google type model. Otherwise, with OpenAI models, we won't do this. Okay, let's continue. And here in the upload file section, if it's a Google model, we want to upload an image or a video. And if it's a Google model, we want to put not only the images file types, but also the MP4 file type. So if we selected a Google model, we'll be able to upload a video file. Otherwise, it won't be possible. And here we'll be using this callback function that we just defined here whenever this file uploader component is used. And the camera is the same. We don't take videos from the camera, so this doesn't change. Finally, the upload audio part will change also a little bit, because now the difference here is that if we use an OpenAI model, we'll use Whisper to transform our recorded audio to text, and then we'll send this text to GPT-4. But if we are using Gemini, we can record this audio, save this audio file, and then send this file to Gemini, and not only ask questions, but also if there is some music or something else in the audio, it can analyze it, or we can make questions about it. So let's check this. And here the first part is for if model type is OpenAI, we were doing the same as before using Whisper. But now if model type is Google, we'll be storing this audio as wave, and similarly as we did before with the videos. And we will be appending the file name of this audio file here. So this will be now in the chat history message, and whenever the Streamlit wants to display it, it will go to this file of here and display it. And when we are using Gemini, the Gemini model will be uploading this file to the conversation. We add here some variables because we will be able now, we'll see how to do it, we'll be able to query directly the model with the audio, not waiting for the prompt input, but having also the audio will be triggering the model response. You can ignore this, it's to add the previous video. Okay, now here we will be changing some things as well. I miss here parentheses. Okay, so the first part is quite similar, but we add here audio file added because we are not only triggering the prompt if there is some written prompt or some audio prompt coming from Whisper, but this is text as well. But also if we have an audio file added to the messages, we'll use that audio file to query the Gemini models. This is similar, and here we display the audio file into the chat history message in the UI, if there is any. And here this is slightly similar, but now we changed the stream LLM response function, so we have new parameters now. Then this part keeps the same. So if we want the model response with voice, we'll need to use the TTS model from OpenAI. So we'll need to put here the OpenAI key, even if we use the Gemini model. So if we activate the audio response that we saw in the last video, we'll use the text response from Gemini or from OpenAI, either of both, to convert it to voice using the TTS OpenAI model. And we'll be displaying it automatically with this HTML part that we saw. And that's all the changes that we have for today. So let's try to run this now. So let's see if it works. So here, okay, we have the OpenAI key because I have it in my environment variables because it's running now in my computer. And also I have the Google API key from the environment variables as well. And here now we have the Gemini models, but also the OpenAI ones. We have all of them. We can select them and it will change the logic. So now if I put Gemini models, I see that it allows me to upload videos as well. Model parameters, let's leave it like this. Okay, so let's try to query the model. Hi. And there was a small error in the, here in the stream LLM response function. This should be called contents, not content. Let's save it and let's try to run it again. Okay, now we have Gemini. Let's ask hello. And okay, it's working. We see here that the response is streaming. Let's try now the Pro. How are you doing? It's working as well. So let's put the flash and let's try an image. Let's try the same image as before, the fridge one. So we have it here in the conversation. And now let's ask, so tell me a dish I can do for lunch that is healthy from the ingredients I have in my fridge. So let's see if, first of all, it understands the ingredients that I have, and then it also suggests a healthy dish. Okay, so based on the image, you could make a delicious and healthy salad for lunch. Here's a possible recipe. Salmon, avocado. Okay, so mixed greens, avocado, salmon, cherry. Cherry tomatoes. There are no cherry tomatoes here. But lemon, okay. Most of it is pretty good. Maybe it will be better to make it step by step. So first of all, asking for the ingredients, and then, okay, with these ingredients that you already detected, make me the recipe. That will be better, but more or less it's working. We can see it's working. Now let's try to ask it some questions. Hi, how are you doing? Tell me a story. And we see that now we are not converting this audio to text with Whisper, but we are uploading here the audio. We are starting a story. I'm curious to hear what happens. Okay, maybe it didn't understood it properly, but more or less it get it. Hi, how are you doing? Tell me a story. Okay, here's the audio, and well, it's failing a little, maybe. Okay, let's reset the conversation. Let's try now the Pro with audio. Hi, tell me something about my voice. Is it good? Is it bad? How it sounds? I don't know. Let's see if it can say something about the voice and not only from the text. Please provide me with the audio clip so I can tell you something about your voice. It's detecting my voice, but yeah, it's working. So the camera would work as well, but now I'm using it to record this video. Let's test now GPT-4o just to make sure that we didn't break the code and it's still working. Let's reset the conversation and let's query it. Okay, it's still working. And now that we saw that everything is working, we can go here and as we did in the last day, let's save this. And in the terminal, let's upload this to GitHub. So let's do git add, git commit, adding Gemini to the OmniChat and push this code. And now we see that it's been updated. Also, we have here the audio files and the JPGs. So maybe we will need to delete them or not include them. So maybe the easiest way will be to put them in the gitignore file. So let's do this. Let's go to the gitignore file and put here that the dot waf and dot are not added. So we are not uploading the test that we do. And now let's delete these ones. Okay, let's push it again. And now we have it here. So if we go now to the OmniChat Streamlit application, maybe it's not yet updated. It takes some seconds. But let's see. Okay, I also missed the update of the requirements.txt file. So let's do pip freeze requirements.txt. We have to make sure that there is not the Windows libraries. Okay, so if you are in Windows and you have pywin32, make sure that you comment this line. Those are good. We just updated the Google Gemini libraries that we are adding here to the project. So let's save this requirements.txt file. Make sure to do this. And now let's add this and commit again. Let's push it for the last time. And now apparently it's working. So we have to put now the API keys. Let's put the Google one first. Okay, Google. Now that we have the API key, it's activating the application. So let's try the Gemini 1.5 Flash now here online from anywhere. Hello. And it's working. Okay. Let's try. Okay, so now I will test not the fridge food JPG image, but I just recorded an example video. So let's see if it can detect it. So let's open this video because we didn't try videos before. So we will be trying now videos here online. So we have here the video I just recorded. Hi, this is a video test. I have this number here. So let's see if you can detect it. And also let me know what I'm saying now. Bye. So let's try to describe this video and the number that appears in the hand. Let's put it, explain like this. Okay, I was trying now again in the local host version to check better the error. And apparently I think that this is some kind of error from the filters, I think. Let's reset the conversation. I will try with another video that doesn't have persons in it. This one of here. This is a video that shows the planet Earth only, like spinning. So let's try to ask about this video. Describe the video. Okay, so it works with videos, but sometimes if there is some person appearing and depending on the type of question that you do, it doesn't want to analyze it for security reasons. But well, if the video doesn't show like specific people or I don't know all the filters, but the code is working. It's only a thing about the filters. So, okay, so it's working here online, although we saw it had this problem, but it's working and we updated the version and it's here in the GitHub repository, so you can check it. It will be the link in the description as well and the blog of it. So make sure to check it and you can copy it from there. Yeah, now we are able to send audios, videos, as well as images and text as before. And we can combine now OpenAI models and Google models in the same application. So it's nice to have them here for free. So make sure to subscribe if you like it, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.